Game that's still to come here on ESPN, the championship of the United States. Danville, California against Staten Island, New York. For Jim Palmer, I'm Brent Musburger. We'll see you with the U.S. title game in a short time. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, brings you the 1991 Little League World Series, presented by Bubblicious. You are looking live at Lamade Stadium, South Williamsport, Pennsylvania. It's the U.S. Championship, matching Staten Island, New York, against Danville, California. Good afternoon. Welcome back, everybody, with Jim Palmer. I'm Brent Musburger. The best of the East against the tops of the West. Both of these cities have been represented here before. Danville, California, located very close to Oakland, so a lot of their players, big fans of the Oakland A's. They advanced by beating Dunedin, Florida. For Staten Island, they got here by shutting out Hamilton, Ohio, 8-0. But you know, if you turn back the clock to 1964, Staten Island with Danny Accarino on the mound, 2 outs in the 6th inning against Monterrey, Mexico. And here's how it wound up. The comebacker. And the dream comes true for Staten Island. And when those dreams do come true and you live around New York, what you want more than anything in the world is the ticker tape parade. Jim Palmer, they'd love to have another one.
They certainly would, and a lot of times we don't know much about these ball clubs. You ask the manager. Goody Halverson, the manager, said we don't focus on strengths. We show up, we play the game, and we shake hands. Well, yesterday their strengths, 12 hits. They scored 8 runs, and then Jason Marquis struck out 11, only gave up 3 hits and a shutout. They hope they get that performance from Pat Hanaway, who'll pitch for them today. Danville, California, they had the butterflies yesterday, Brennan. Basically didn't play well. They made 5 errors, gave up 4 unearned runs. So they got to play a little bit better. They'd like to have a ticker tape parade out there on the West Coast.
Right across the Bay Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So coming up now, it's the United States Championship with the winner on Saturday to take on Chinese Taipei. We'll be back in a moment. The 1991 Little League World Series is brought to you by Bubblicious Bubble Gum, the ultimate bubble. By Kraft, proudly setting the training table for the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. And by Carvel, the ice cream bakery. So we get set for the United States Championship, but let's review Little League Baseball. Dimensions for a Major League Baseball team: 60 feet 6 inches from the plate to the pitcher's mound, 90 feet between the bases, and that's the average dimensions of an outfield. Now let's take a look at what we have here at Lamade. And for Little League Baseball, it's only 46 feet from the pitcher's mound to home plate, 60 feet between the bases, 204 down the lines, and 204 dead away center field here in South Williamsport. Jimmy, how about the rules?
Well, shorter games here at Williamsport, 6 innings long. That's the regulation game in Major League, 9. And players, they have to be 12. And if they are 13, the birthday has to come after August 1st. And a very important rule, very significant. The pitchers we will see today will not be able to pitch on Saturday if they reach the final. And also speed, a very much of a factor on defense, but not as much on base running and stealing and so forth, because you cannot attempt to steal a base until the ball crosses home plate. Or actually,
now, the young man, Kyle Jackson, taking the field here for the San Ramon Valley Little League out of Danville, California. And he will face this lineup for the South Shore American Little League of Staten Island, New York. Anzalone, Marquis, Esposito, Whistle, Holt, Hanaway, Cammarata, and then the twins, Jared and Reed, DiCrescenzo in left and in center field.
Here's the defense for Danville, the defense that yesterday did make 5 errors, gave up 4 unearned runs. 3 of those by the pitcher, Kevin Graham, who is now the left fielder. Outfielders throw well. The infielders look like they were very quick and agile. Also good throwing arms.
And the umpires for today: Mike Billerman out of Indianapolis behind the plate. Umpire from Europe works at first base. One from Puerto Rico at second. Michigan umpire draws the assignment at third. Alabama and Victoria, British Columbia, working the lines here as we have a 6-man crew Set to begin. Anzalone, the second baseman, due to lead it off here as the East plays the West for the United States Championship. We had a great game here last year, won by Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, over the youngsters.
Traditionally, these are the best games because they're the most evenly matched. And here you have an Eastern team that did put 12 hits and 8 runs on the board. They are usually the smallest of the teams. In fact, all through the regional tournament in the East, they were the smaller the teams, but they do depend on defense. They depend on pitching. There is Goody Halverson, who is the coach, and he said basically we're speed, we're defense. We'd like to play good fundamental baseball. We'll see if they do that.
Brought a team to Williamsport back in 1985.
The stake was getting in the finals.
That's right, against you-know-who. And Chinese Taipei awaits the winner of this game on the Saturday afternoon. We'll see that one on ABC's Wide World of Sports at 4 Eastern. So Jackson's first pitch high, and we are underway. That'll keep it loose if nothing else.
Certainly will. 6 or 7 years that I've been up here, Brent, what I have seen is that it all starts with the pitcher. Not as much stuff. It helps if you have a good fastball and a curveball, but you have to throw strikes.
Jackson pours one in, and the count goes 1-1. Strike. A ball and 2 strikes. You know, this San Ramon Valley Little League, they are the 30th California team to win the West and come on into the Little League World Series here in Pennsylvania. Great baseball players through the years have come out of the state of California. Bound to foul and ball and 2 strikes. Thrill for the parents who are here with their youngsters. All the folks driving over from Staten Island, held up on the swing outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The leadoff hitter, top of the first. Check swing, popped it up. Infield pop-up handled by Hudson to shortstop, and 1 out.
I think also part of the most difficult time for a pitcher, you come out of the bullpen here. I'm not sure there is a bullpen, but you take your warm-ups and then you come out on the mound a little bit different. The height of a Little League field, the mound could be no higher than 6 inches versus 10 inches at the Major League level above home plate.
Jason Marquis, the shortstop for Staten Island, and the Staten Island players wearing those full plastic face guards. Cheering on her son.
Part of the tradition here at Williamsport and in all Little League programs is safety. You see the double flap helmet face guards here. Not all Little Leagues have to wear that. They choose to.
Up the middle, base hit. Ball popped off that aluminum bat, didn't it, for the first hit of the afternoon in this game?
Well, they actually mowed the yard, the infield. Some people, that's baseball vernacular for the ballpark, but they did mow the infield. Good swing by Jason Marquis, pinked it into center field, but they actually made this field faster than it was the first game, and it was extremely fast then.
Now the third baseman, Brian Esposito, with Marquis holding on at first base. He's been throwing strikes.
Well, it's a big fear for some pitchers at a Major League level here in Little League. We saw in the first game Robert Kersey still, even though he get hit hard, it was Esposito's Brian's mother. But if you stop throwing it over, you can't utilize the 7 players that are behind you.
Ball and a strike.
Good little breaking ball, just veered away. Into the impression. Well, we see where the intensity is, don't we?
It's always with the parents. Kids are enjoying themselves, having a great game. Got to wait away from the catcher, and the runner will go to second base. So Marquis into second. One that got down in the dirt.
Most likely will go as a wild pitch because the ball bounced. Justin Staley tries to catch it. See him collapse on it, blocks it the way he's supposed to, but good base running. You can't leave till the ball goes over the plate, but a key to getting a good jump is that when you do take your lead, it's an aggressive lead. You have your balance on your lead foot, so your momentum and your impetus is going towards the base in front of you.
Now, in case you were not with us in the first game, we had a lot of runners on at second base signaling the pitch to the hitter and also location, and it could be that, having watched some of that action, that here the two youngsters from California are out talking about what to do with the runner on at second. And the pitcher's mother, Jackson's mom, watching from the stands here.
And what we saw in the first game, one was a fastball, two was a curveball. Sometimes you will change the signs. You can reverse them, a lot of options.
So a good breaking ball, and that is the first strikeout of the game for Jackson. 2 out, runner on at second, and now here comes the cleanup hitter for the East, and that is Mike Whistle.
Well, good read by Kyle Jackson. Also, Justin Staley. They had success with the breaking ball. They missed on the pitch that the runner advanced to second base and came right back with it for the strikeout. So many times, Brent, even at Little League, the hitter will dictate what you throw. He will show you what his weakness is.
Shadow closing in on home plate. Fastball will be tough this part of the afternoon right now. Mike's mom watching.
Mike Whistle with 2 RBIs yesterday in the quarterfinal game. Also scored a run.
Bounder to the third baseman. Fair ball, and he retires the hitter. So Staten Island puts a runner on second base, but the numbers 3 and 4 hitter cannot bring him home. And now California will come up here in the bottom of the first.
That game doesn't really change whether you're 10 or 11 or 12 or you're in the major leagues. The crunch time. If you're a pitcher, can you get a guy out in scoring position with 2 outs? And if you're a hitter, can you get him home? Toughest at bat you can have, because the only way to score him is to come through with a base hit.
You know, this South Shore Staten Island about to take the field here with Pat Hanaway, their starting pitcher. They're very proud of how the youngsters have done academically. And they know how to make a straight line coming on the field here. All our honor students with averages in the 90s, the coach wanted to make sure that we got that information, and here is the young man.
So we refer to them as scholar athletes.
That's right.
Well, aptitude has a lot to do, whether you're playing Little League or Pony League, or as you go up, whether you're a football, basketball player.
And he will face this lineup from California. Isom, Basso, Behringer, Graham, Gross, Rucker, Hudson, Jackson, Staley. And I want to go back to Gross for a moment, Jim Palmer. Kyle Gross is his father is someone you're very familiar with.
Oh, yeah, Wayne Gross played with most of his career with the Oakland Athletics, was an All-Star in 1977, but also played with the Baltimore Orioles. There he is. He's not the manager, but a coach. It's interesting, in infield drills, he turned around. He's a left-handed hitter when I faced him. Hitting all his uncles with one hand from the right side. I guess he has too much power from the other side of the plate. Defense, and it's a good one. They only committed 1 error yesterday, and we talked about aptitude. Very important part of playing defense is to expect that every ball is going to be hit to you, and when it is hit to you, you know what you're going to do with it.
You know, I look at the twins in the outfield, the DiCrescenzo. I can tell they're not identical. One's left-handed and the other's right-handed out there.
Well, I believe they're fraternal twins, and
that's exactly right, as Greg Isom will lead off. And then it'll be Daniel Basso and Jason Behringer here for California.
Well, I play in the Orioles. I lined out the Ripken. Which one? Did you hit it to second? Did you hit it to short? Or did you hit it to their dad, who was coaching third base?
Esposito in a step at third in case Isom tries to drop down an early bunt. Takes one high. Well,
we saw in the previous semifinal game, that is the way they play third base. Only 60 feet down the first baseline as it is between bases, so they play very shallow, want to get to the ball as quickly as they can.
I love the way Wayne Gross rifles through those signals down there at third base. He learned it, no doubt, from Weaver, how to do all that. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I'm going to have to ask him, what's the hit sign?
Get away. Hey, right where you want it now. Come on. Undress it.
In the air. Anzalone makes the put out. 1 out. Daniel Basso, the center fielder. 2 up now for Danville, California.
I had a chance to talk to Pat Hanaway, who's doing the pitching for Staten Island. He said, I try to throw it over. I have a fastball and a curveball, nothing else. Pretty simplistic for a 12-year-old.
Here's a 12-year-old at the plate who, when they asked him here this week to write down what his favorite television show is, he said, the Playboy Channel. He gets pushed back a little bit and down.
Well, I doubt if they have that. I doubt if they have that channel up here at the cabins where they stay.
I don't
he
think
may be
so.
a little disappointed. We talked about the first game at 46 feet. Batter has to react pretty much as you do in the major leagues. At 60 feet, 6 inches.
Outside and low, and it is 3 balls and no strikes.
Dr. Creighton Hale moving the mound back a foot because of that exact fact. And there's the pitching coach.
That's right. Hit in the back was Basso.
I never got hit by a pitch at a major league level, but I can tell you, at Little League it hurt, Pony League it hurt, American Legion, Babe Ruth.
So the right fielder, Jason Behringer, steps in. 1 on, 1 out. Bottom of the first. And Hanaway seems to be struggling here a little bit, Jimmy.
Well, he is. He has not gotten any curveballs over. Getting a little advice from his dugout. Very simple signs for catcher Mike Whistle. He's basically putting down 1. That's a fastball. I would assume that 2 would be a curveball.
Foul back.
What that swing remind you of? First game.
Yes, indeed. We didn't get a chance to see Chinese Taipei. They exploded for 11 runs in the first inning, hit 4 home runs, all 4 by 2 players. Nice catch by Whistle. Preventing the ball from getting to the backstop, allowing that runner to move up.
So if you're Jason Behringer, all right, if you watch the first 2 hitters, you can pretty much look for a fastball here. He has not gotten a curveball over yet.
Hit in the air to right field. It'll stay in play, and the right fielder, Cammarata, can't come up with it. And the runner on first will move to third base. Might have been a little problem with the sunshine out there this time of day. He went back, looked up, and lost it.
You can never tell. The sun not directly in his eyes, but we're up here in the booth. He's out there where it's glaring. Also a lot of background. Looks like he has it. Ball with the wind blowing a little bit from right to left may have blown a little bit farther than he anticipated. And that will be scored as an error.
And Danville with runners on at first and third, and their cleanup hitter, Kevin Graham, number 20.
This is the young man that pitched yesterday and made about 3 errors, but also throws close to 81 miles per hour. That's how fast they had him on the radar gun.
And Hanaway jumps up in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. First and third, and 1 out. No score. We're at the bottom of the first. Gone. A 3-run shot by Graham.
Teach a hitter's bat speed. Look how quickly that bat gets through the strike zone. And what makes it a little bit quicker is that's a hanging curveball. Started him off with a curveball, tried to come back for the strikeout. Turns out being a 3-run home run.
California jumps ahead of New York 3-0, and here's Wayne Gross's son, the first baseman, Kyle Gross, drew up against Pat Hanaway.
Wearing his dad's number. Wonder why he's wearing 14.
Strike. Base hit. That's the second hit of the inning. After a batter was hit by a pitch, there's an error on the right fielder, then the 3-run homer, and now a single by Gross, bringing up Colby Rucker, the third baseman.
Brought up a good point in the first inning, the top of the half, saying how quickly the ball comes off the aluminum bat. And therefore, one of the key things to do, and when you see this with the Chinese type pay team year after year, is having a balanced swing, keeping your eye on the ball, and just making sure you make contact enhances your chance of being successful.
In the 2 games this afternoon, we've seen 6 home runs. 3-0 here in the bottom of the first, with the winner to take on Chinese Taipei Saturday afternoon. Still in the bottom of the first now with 1 out. It'll be out of play.
Well, Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. If you make contact, they will come. Long balls, line drives. They hit the ball so hard in the first game, some of the infielders didn't even have an opportunity to react. We've seen a little bit of that here early in the second game.
Gets past the catcher, and Gross takes second base.
1-2, son.
Mike Wessel not doing a real good job. Again, we can't be too judgmental because these are 12-year-olds, but you're going to try to keep the ball in front of you. You have to get out there. Nowadays, a lot of catchers trying to do it one-handed. It doesn't always work that way. That's better. Of course, if you're Mike Wessel, you're also saying, I'm not anticipating him throwing the ball 3 feet outside. Let's throw it where my glove is.
Up the middle and into center field. Wayne sends his son on in. He slips coming around the bag, and he'll have to retreat to third base. As he came around third, he slipped and went down. And he had to retreat.
Staying right in there. Did not hit it on the end of the bat. The good alumina, as we would say, was in good wood. There it is. It looked like he might have almost missed the third base bag. Caught himself. Would have been the 4th run. Very difficult to throw anybody out from the outfield in Little League, even if you throw well.
Goody out for a quick conference with his catcher and pitcher. Now going back to the dugout. 1st and 3rd, and only 1 out. And here's Nate Hudson. And this is a situation that is always troublesome for Little Leaguers. How to defend 1st and 3rd.
Well, you can't turn to double play. So you have a choice. You can bring your infield in, but then again here in the 1st inning, then you exacerbate the chance of having a bigger inning. And that's why it's so difficult. If you're the pitcher, the ball's hit right back to you. If you think you can get a double play, you go right to second, and then you throw to first. If not, you might want to think of not giving up that 4th run. But whatever, check the runner on third.
There goes the runner from first. The throw is to the pitcher, and now they get the man in a rundown. Gross leaves third, and they've got him hung up. Well defended, but nobody back at the third baseman. He's out. He got him. Good hustling play by Staten Island. Extremely well executed on the first and third.
Well, it's not exactly textbook, but they did get the final out, mainly because the shortstop, Jason Marquis, not the final out, but the second out, because of the fact that he had heads enough to eventually get to third base. This is a design play. Right here, they throw it to the second baseman. He looks at the runner right now. He sees Kyle Gross at third, throws to third base. They have him in a rundown. Bad throw, saved by the catcher.
Nice play by the second baseman. Makes the throw, and no! His foot was not on the bag. His foot was not on the bag. Safe at first. And the runner scores from second base. It is 4-0. And the first baseman is credited with an error on that play. The throw was there in time, but he was not making contact with the bag.
This is a tough league.
That was close, wasn't it? It was hard to tell. You know, he sort of pushed his foot back again. If he'd have come off the bag, probably with the good look, might have gotten it. Here's Kyle Jackson now, the pitcher. Another ground ball to second. And that does it, but not before. Danville, California scores 4 runs on 3 hits. One a 3-run homer by Kevin Graham. We'll be right back. Tonight on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, NFL preseason action with the Los Angeles Rams and the Houston Oilers. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann will bring that one to you at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight on ESPN. Top of the second inning for Staten Island. Numbers 5, 6, and 7 hitters due up. Down by 4 runs already.
Kyle Jackson, who's on the mound, presented with a 4-run gift. So all he has to do is not change his game plan. Acknowledge the fact that one pitch is not going to beat him unless he stops utilizing his defense. So throw it over, mix up your pitches. He has 2 of them, at least that's what we've seen, and throw strikes.
Kevin Graham hit a 3-run shot, and if they can make this hold up, we would expect to see him as the starting pitcher against Chinese Taipei on Saturday afternoon. That might be a very interesting matchup. The young man throws in the 80s. He's got the size. Now let's see how this one unfolds. Still a long way to go. The New Yorkers down by 4. Starting first baseman.
As you look through some of the regional scores, they put 17 runs on the board against Snug Harbor, 12 against Snug Harbor, 11 against another ball club, 11 against Connecticut. 8 yesterday, 12 hits. So relax, try to do what you initially came to do, which is to try to get a base hit every time if you're a hitter, and then just tighten up your defense and hope that you get a little bit better pitching. Get back in this game. 1 or 2 runs right here.
One out, and so far it has not been a real happy birthday for Matt. That's the second strikeout in the game for Jackson. Good breaking ball.
Yeah, the slow motion camera, you can really see the tumbling effect of that breaking ball. Appears it's going to be at strike zone, a little bit lesser speed, so the hitter jumps out, and then the ball curves underneath the the bat. Perfect example of changing speeds.
Close.
Well, ample strike zone. We saw that in the first game. Rule book in the major league says it's from about the top of the knee to under the armpits. That's not the case anymore, but here in Little League it is. Sometimes that plate gets a little wider than 17 inches.
Ground ball. 2 out. Nice throw by Hudson, the shortstop.
Reminds you a little of Sean Dunston. I wonder if Nate's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Talking that way. Cammarata, the right fielder, due up. 2 out, 4-0. Danville, California, head of Staten Island. Great thrill for all these youngsters just to get here, isn't it?
Certainly is. I'm not sure they start the season. I'd like to think that most kids play Little League because of the friendship, teamwork, sportsmanship, learning how to play baseball. But once you get into the program, pretty good bonus.
Big crowd here. Sitting up on that hillside, out beyond the outfield fence, grandstands jam. Some of these parents have given up a lot of time to travel around the country and watch these youngsters play in the various regionals. There you see a shot of the outfield. They'll be packed again on Saturday afternoon.
I think we have a tendency when we show you mothers and parents of the team members that are here to forget pretty much what Tommy John talked about when he presented the Mom of the Year award, which is so much of Little League is the parents, the volunteers, and for every parent here, you can sue them a millionfold across the world.
So a base runner, first walk off Jackson, and now DeCrescenzo. This is Jared, the left fielder. Two out, East trailing by 4 runs. Danville, California, scored 4 in the bottom of the first. Jim, do you think that the Chinese Taipei coaches bring the same discipline and attention to scouting these other teams that they do to the fundamentals of the game?
I would think so, but I'm not sure it's necessary. And I'll get back to that in a second. Not because of the 17-1 score.
Hello.
Real interesting article in Sports Illustrated with John Daly when he won the PGA, and it talks about the fact that very simple Chinese ethic. They feel that if they work hard, they'll be successful. I think that they come over here and they're fundamentally sound. They do the things they're supposed to do. They'll win whether they scout or not.
Some of those youngsters, I've been asked so many times what happens to them after Little League. Some have gone into the Japanese League, but they have recently, 2 years ago, started a professional league in Taiwan. There are 4 teams, and most of them now are manned by graduates of this tremendous Little League program. Count as 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that article also discussing that. Talking also about the fact that the Chinese Taipei team used to play in front of 30, 40,000 people. Now they're around 1,500 to 2,000 because of this professional league. Much more interest at that level.
The last team to beat them here was Trumbull, Connecticut.
And that was a team effort. You know, Chris Drury was a pitcher that day, a young hockey player that was completely poised, full of composure. Pretty good pitcher, not outstanding stuff, but mixed up his pitches.
2-2 and 2 out. Back to the shortstop. And this will do it. That Staten Island out in the second inning. We'll go to the bottom of the second with Danville, California ahead by 4 runs. With Jim Palmer, I'm Brent Musburger. Welcome back to South Williamsport, Pennsylvania. You know, one of the great stories about Little League this year is the fact that the Soviet Union had its first league. There were 4 teams around Moscow. They did not travel to a tournament any place. This was their first year. They started late, so they competed amongst themselves. But in the years ahead, they hope to send a team on to the tournament. Off the third baseman's glove, and the leadoff man, Justin Staley, reaches base here for Danville, California.
So as a matter of fact, the people here in Little League would try to convince you that Gorbachev was not part of a coup. He was actually watching the Little League finals in the Crimean Sea.
Whatever he was doing, nice to have him back.
Yeah.
So an error is assessed the third baseman. As Staley reaches base, and Greg Isom due up here. He popped up.
See, if I was managing a Little League team, and what I'd do is I'd have my third baseman play in, but I'd have him play about a step or 2 to the left. I can't anticipate too many of these youngsters pulling the ball.
Into left field, and going back is Jared DiCrescenzo, and the runner on first tags up and alertly goes to second.
Well, just like you have to get a good lead, wait for the ball to go across home plate or reach home plate. Right here, same thing applies. Nice play by the left fielder. Jared DiCrescenzo runs it down, and then Justin Staley tags up and goes into second base. He's in scoring position.
Parents are yelling from the stands to appeal it over at first base.
Why not?
Here it comes. The parents over here do not agree. They figured they had a much better view than the umpires did at first
They're a
base.
lot closer.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Daniel Basso, the center fielder, now up. Teammate on at second. You know, we've talked about the Shippensburg team that reached the finals last year. Shippensburg defeated Staten Island in the regional final to get here, and 3 members of that team played for Staten Island on that losing team have now made it here. Esposito, Marquis, and Holt. There's one into left field, base hit. Runner had to hold up. He now has to hurry, and he gets in ahead of the throw, and the hitter alertly goes to second base. Very good base running here by California.
Well, it's good base running because what it does, it forces the defense to try to gamble. You're down 4 runs, and what you try to do is try to get the lead runner. That would have been a tag play, so you have to make a perfect throw, and he wasn't able to do that, the left fielder. And then, as you said, the kind of gave up a little bit, but still had enough of it to ping it into left field. Right here, trying to get the lead runner, and then the base runner does a great job.
Jason Behringer hit a fly deep to right field that was misplayed. This one going deep to left, and it's gone. The second 3-run home run by Danville, California, and it's a 7-0 lead.
This ball is jolted. Great concentration, good swing. Behringer does the rest. Very strong wrist. Really got the bat head out there. That ball traveling about 240 feet.
And it means a pitching change. Pat Hanaway done for the day, and third baseman Brian Esposito going to come in now and do the pitching.
I think we may also have a change in the outfield. Check up at the center fielder. Looks like also may have been a substitution.
They may have brought the center fielder into third and put in a new center field. Let's see exactly.
Nope, I don't know.
They made several switches here.
That or the first baseman went to get a new glove, trying to trick us and succeeding.
We've got Jimmy Tubbs up here. He'll pick up these numbers for us. We'll make him responsible for that.
He's actually probably just had breakfast with most of this team this morning.
So here are the changes. The pitcher becomes the catcher. The center fielder goes to first base, the third baseman pitching, and the first baseman goes to third base. Got those now, Jimmy?
Well, I guess that answers the ultimate baseball question. Who's on first?
Now, instead of the catcher, hit whistle will stay, but the pitcher's gone to center field. All right, I think we've got it squared off now. So here's Kevin Graham. He hit the first 3-run homer for Danville as they jumped ahead 3-0. And now the young men from California are starting to play like Chinese Taipei, up by 7 runs. Esposito's first pitch, low and inside. That was a little low, didn't he?
We were talking the other night down in Texas about certain hitters. The count gets 2-0, and it's like their credo is never, ever let one go by. I think that's what Kevin Graham is thinking. I already hit a 3-run home run. Good little girl. She must. California. Oh,
hit off the bat's a foul ball. It went over.
That's right, Kevin. It's your fault.
It's your fault, Kevin.
Yeah. Just trying to get out of the way is Kevin Graham.
Watch this.
There, a duck. And he does. Well, I thought I could hit his back
first.
So if you're home plate umpire,
yes,
it looked like. John Billerman, he has no idea. He's trying to get out of the way, too. They can't anticipate that. Well, it looked like it nudged off his back.
It ricocheted right off it. Foul ball.
Now you see why you have a double flap helmet. That's probably the best way to get out of it. Roll that left shoulder if you're a right-handed hitter into it. And if you are going to get hit, take that shoulder, have the brunt or the flap of the helmet.
Line drive. Dropped by the shortstop. But he throws him out. Well, I mean, that was a rocket ship.
I'm surprised it did not drag the shortstop, Jason Marquis, into left field. You can see the power that Kevin Graham has. That looks like a good tee shot. Well, it almost got to left field, but it did flag down by the shortstop. I thought he threw it, kind of lost control of it, taking it out of his glove, but umpire thought otherwise. Didn't matter. He threw him out at first. Kevin Graham should, though, run all the way. Never assume somebody's going to make it out.
Oh! Kyle Gross with his second at bat. Strike. 2 out, 7-0. California leading New York. United States Championship and a World Championship on Saturday afternoon. Chinese Taipei for the 6th straight year has reached the final. Check swing foul.
If son's going to be like father, this is Kyle Gross. His dad played with the Oakland A's and the Orioles. He's going to be a better fastball hitter than breaking ball hitter. Or maybe Wayne just said, Kyle, I want to teach you how to hit the curveball. I never could do it. Wayne Gross, a tough left-handed pull hitter.
Check swing to the first baseman. And Gross is retired. 3 on the system. 3 more runs for Danville. And the champions of the West lead the Eastern champions by 7. Back. Jim Palmer, what went wrong with the Mets this year?
Well, porous defense and pitching not up to their capabilities. Gooden, who's pitched well lately, but struggling early.
Pinch hitter Joey Loveland steps in now for Danville, California. They lead it 7-0. We're in the bottom of the third. This is the second pitcher for Staten Island, Brian Esposito, now on the mound. You can be substituted for and re-enter once in a Little League game.
If you come back in the position where you started the ball game. Another rule variation is also that you could take a pitcher out of the game, have him come back in and pitch again, which you can't do with the normal season. So, in other words, if you started the game, you could go play a defensive position, then come back and pitch later on.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball into left field for a base hit.
No, that's what I said. I just don't see playing down the line. Not that many of the young kids are going to pull the ball. That's not at least the way you teach hitting. So play off the line. If you want to play shallow, that's fine. Take a couple of steps because that's where the majority of the balls are going to be hit. And again, another step or two, that's a 5-3. Third baseman picks it up, throws it over to first base, and instead of a base runner, you have an out.
You know, it can't hurt having a major leaguer coaching third base and bringing some of his expertise. When you think about it, these youngsters are pretty aggressive at the plate. As the ball gets away from the catcher, Loveland goes down to second. Nate Hudson now the hitter. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, part of being down by 7 runs is sometimes assume you're going to catch it. Ball did move, did run away from Staten Island catcher, but didn't react very well to that.
Foul ball.
I think sometimes they play so well here, they play at such high standards that we forget they're 12 years old. And
exactly.
We expect them to always be able to perform. And that may be the difference between the Chinese Taipei team. They almost always do perform, make the right play.
Ball and 2 strikes. Esposito is taking his signals from the dugout. He backs up away from the mound, looks over at the manager, comes back up and throws. Watch how he handles this now. Now he'll look over to the dugout. Catcher gets the sign at the same time.
I hope so, for his sake.
Right. He might not have gotten that last one. Pitch was a little high. Nevertheless, he fouls it back, and it's 2-2.
Well, we traded, talking about the Orioles in 1971. After that season, they made the Frank Robinson trade for Doyle Alexander, Warwick Harrison, Bob O'Brien, and a catcher by the name of Sergio Robles. And I don't know if my stuff was diminishing or whatever, but I said, well, don't you want to know what I'm throwing? He said, just throw it. That was early in my career. Had me worried.
Base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third base. Nobody out. Runners on at first and third. Danville with a 7-run lead and rallying again. And now it's Kyle Jackson, the pitcher. Pitch, allowing the run to score, and it's 8-0.
Get that ball, son. Pitch, pitch.
No, this is just a pitch that gets away. Runner on third sees the ball get by the catcher, and he will come in and, as Brent Musburger told you, score the 8th run. The runner down at first moves to second.
Up the middle, fielded by the shortstop. He thought about trying for the lead runner, but he retires. The hitter Jackson at first base. He spun when he saw that runner going, but elected to throw to first.
Hey, you look at the scoreboard here, you see 8 runs for Danville, but you also see 3 errors. Great play. And they get the out at first. Nice play by the first baseman. But if you don't have the wild pitch, you don't have the 3 errors, it most likely would have been a double play ball. So Staten Island, their forte defense, they haven't shown it this afternoon.
Justin Staley, the number 9 hitter and the catcher, at the plate now. 1 out and a teammate on at third.
There's another unusual play. You would think they'd play the infield in. You would at a major league level. You bring your infielders in because you want to cut off another run with 1 out. For already 8-0. You have to have your infielders play shallow enough where if on a slow grounder or even a hard grounder, they'll be able to make the play and try to cut off the runner.
Okay, here we go.
Second baseman playing really deep. Shortstop a little bit in.
Oh.
Pretty good imitation of Taipei here by Danville, California. The youngsters love coming here.
Well, so do the old people. You see the same people year after year here. They come from their little league districts all over the country.
That time. Just 2 guys.
Esposito ready. Hit to his second baseman. 2 out, but another run scores, and it's 9-0. They traded out for a run. And there's an example.
Well, the pitcher thought that there were 2 outs because he ran off the field. But if you bring the infield in, you might have a play at the plate. This way you concede a run, and it does make it 9-0. More difficult to come back and try to win this game. To be quite honest, Brent, I doubt if they ever trailed 8-0. So maybe that's a move that you don't do, but a little bit unusual. You think you'd try to keep that other run from scoring.
Kellen Smith is the pinch hitter. Batting for Greg Eisen here. Bottom of the third. Check swing right back. Esposito slip. Ball will get behind him, and reaching first is Smith.
We told you how flat the mound is, but also occasionally you'll slip. There's a little bit of hole where your left foot lands. Good reaction by the pitcher, unable to get to it. Or is the second baseman. Another base runner.
Now Stephen Otis will be the pinch hitter. 2 out. Runner on at first. California leading by 9 runs. Danville, California, located very close to Oakland. Last year was Southern California, which was beaten by Pennsylvania. And Northern California closing in on an appearance in the championship. Surprised when Chinese Taipei exploded against Canada, but this one came like a bolt out of the blue. Danville, California has taken a 9-1 lead on Staten Island, New York. Breaking ball foul.
Ball. You get that ball catch.
Troy Ward, the ball that's almost a double. Position of the ball when it goes over the bag. The ball could actually go over the bag and bounce in fair territory and still be ruled a fair ball. Third base umpire right there, Brian Ergang from Wyoming, Michigan.
That does it, but not before Danville comes up with 2 more runs. And now after 3, California leads New York 9-0. Well, along with playing baseball, Little Leaguers also are deeply involved in community services. They had a recycling drive this year, and they gave a $10,000 first prize, and Felix Millon, the former major leaguer, his Little League out of New York City, was awarded the top prize. And with us now is the league president, Manny Rodriguez, who has joined us. And Manny, first of all, congratulations. That's a wonderful honor. And what will the Little League do now with the $10,000 first prize?
Well, now that's will give us a lot of input for next year. You see, it's a league that we don't have no money, and thank you to this company, now we have the money.
That's great.
And I bet you next year we'll be here.
Ground ball to the shortstop. They, in fact, caught it in the air before it hit the ground. So a nice play by Hudson, and there's one out.
Manny, you said you'll be here next year in recycling, or is this money going to allow you to come here as a team?
It's going to allow us to come as a team because right now we got the money to come.
Okay. All you got to do is win some games, right?
Yep, we got to win the game first.
A lot of games.
But we will try.
Whistle the hitter, bounded foul. Manny, there's a lot of talk about inner city youngsters not playing baseball today, that they have turned to basketball, that they've turned to football. Your perspective from New York City, are the youngsters getting an opportunity? Do we have the young baseball players coming up?
Yes, we do. We got, that's a lot of talk about the kid going to basketball and football, because really the basketball and football, they could play 9 months a year, and baseball the 4 or 5 months. That's the reason. But we always trying to get into the baseball, because really the baseball is what the money is right now.
Manny, where are you from? Where's your home?
Puerto Rico.
San Juan?
No, Ponce.
Hey, Ponce. Now listen, when's Puerto Rico going to be able to beat Cuba? How come all those Cuban athletes handle you in baseball?
I don't know. Really, they got good ball players there.
Okay. Manny, listen again. Congratulations to you. Good luck, and thanks for dropping by.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll see you next year.
We will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we've got 2 out here. Jim Palmer in the top of the 4th inning on a shortstop action. He's made both putouts. And Matt Holt, who struck out back in the 2nd inning, now moves in here.
Kyle Jackson just mowing him down, throwing a lot of strikes, only giving up, to this point, 1 hit.
Right past him. This is a very impressive California Little League team.
Well, they have played a lot better than yesterday. Made 5 errors, 3 by their pitcher, Kevin Graham, who we saw, and they've it seems to have gotten the kinks out. They said Troy Ward, the manager, said that they made some mistakes they don't normally make.
I want to check the records to make sure about that, but I think their toughest game in the tournament has been against Billings, Montana. I think my hometown I saw was like 5 to 4.
Oh, but of course, Brent.
There it is, right here. 5-4. Dave McNally probably had
I'm sure he has something to do with it up there.
No, I'd like to put something.
He ended my Little League career early. Swung on and missed, and it's 1-2-3. Out in the 4th. Jackson working on his 1-hitter. And California leading New York 9-0. Jim Palmer has mentioned the importance of volunteers, and I don't think there's any volunteer more special in Little League baseball than those folks who work with the Challenger division. Those are the handicapped youngsters who get an opportunity to play some baseball. And one who works a lot with them is the former major leaguer Bill Buckner.
What do you think the most important thing is when you go up to hit? You got to keep your eye on the ball, don't you?
For Major League great Bill Buckner, giving pointers to Little League's Challenger Division kids was a real thrill.
Oh, it was a real boost for me. I had a lot of fun today. These kids had, they're handicapped children, but in their minds, they weren't handicapped out there today. They played baseball. They thought they were in the 7th game of the World Series.
What are you going to do with your eyes? You're going to watch the ball, right? And you're going to follow through on your swing.
I think Little League is interested in developing young people. They just want to develop good attitudes and good personalities for good young people and give them confidence and getting them involved in competition at an early age. I remember the days when I played Little League, some of the things that happened to me have affected me my whole life, especially in my athletic career.
Inside the fourth home run. I hit my first one last year after 20 years.
And what about advice for these aspiring champions?
To enjoy life, to have confidence in themselves, and as long as they compete and do the best that they can, and they're involved in sports or school or whatever, they can be proud of themselves.
Bill Buckner with the Challenger division, a part of Little League Baseball. Here it is.
Career he had.
Isn't it something? He's doing a radio show.
I still remember a line. Tommy Lasorda is third base coach for the Dodgers before he became manager, and he said, Billy Buckner came over to third, and it was Mike that day, and he said, Billy Buckner plays baseball like my wife shops all day long.
That was a great line.
Tommy, he's got some great lines lately. Dodgers faltering a little bit. Great race over there in the National League West.
He had a few lines about Darryl Strawberry last night of those 2 home runs. Leadoff hitter for California. Hits one out of here. Jason Berenger. That's his second home run of the game.
Well, that does remind you of the first game, 17-1 Chinese Taipei win, and we're going to have an ode to Jason. Back-to-back home runs. Another breaking ball, another home run. Just put a nice swing on it, the aluminum bat, and looks like he's about 5'5". The leverage takes care of it.
Let's not forget his third at bat. The ball wound up in a warning track, and the right fielder misplayed it. So Berenger with a big day. Kevin Graham now popping one. Foul and out as the first baseman's got it. 1 out, 10-0. California ahead. And Kyle Gross stepping to the plate. We've got some cameramen who can find some of the best faces in America, can't they? And Graham Dobbin will step in and pinch hit for Gross. So everyone on the Danville team getting an opportunity to play here today against Staten Island. And the game much easier than they'd expected. And a base hit that gets past the center fielder. But he gets back on the ball and the hitter will hold it first. So Dobbin is on. And now Loveland is due up. We'll see if he makes an appearance. Joey Loveland was a pinch hitter the last time. And he's back up now for his second at bat. Foul. There's a pretty good pin collection. Collecting pins and getting Jim Palmer's autograph. That's the...
Well, I've given a number of them over the years here.
I'd say. You're very patient with
You ever try
folks, too.
put on one of those hats full of pins? I got to think you have to go right for some headache medicine. They are heavy.
Ball is strike.
Of course, that is. They really don't want my autograph. They want an ABC pin.
Inside. How many?
I don't know if ESPN has them, but not an ESPN pin, an ABC pin.
Wayne Gross coaching at third base. Deep to left. Gone again. And the snow fence topples over.
Yeah, gone, gone
for the souvenir.
Gone off the bat, and so is the snow fence gone.
So Loveland hits the fourth home run of the game for Danville. Look out, Chinese Taipei. Here comes California.
Well, this performance does give you hope. You like to have a good matchup on Saturday. We'd like to have a closer game here, but we can't always control that. One of the things that impresses me that the first baseman came over to Brian Esposito after he threw the home run, put his arm around him, and that it's not one of those days. Certainly isn't.
Ball on a strike. Watch this crowd now on the other side of the barricade.
Fumble! Nice catch by a dad. You bully. Now that's what the Mets need.
Yes.
Somebody that can catch the ball. I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't they need that though?
Yes, indeed.
A lot of teams need that. Good defense.
Defense helps that pitching, doesn't it?
Oh, doesn't it? It makes pitching.
You had Belanger behind you there.
I
Brooks,
had Robinson. I had Bobby Grich, one of the all-time great second basemen as far as fielding percentage.
There's the second out.
Let's not forget about the outfield. Paul Blair, one of the finest center fielders.
Oh,
Luke Powell, the big boy, was very agile at first base.
I've seen Blair make some great running catches through the years. Wow. Remember Ken Berry? He used to play against you for the White Sox.
White Sox.
He'd come up with some stuff. Jim Landis before him. That was before you.
No. I was growing up in California, playing Little League. As a matter
The Blade.
of fact.
Jackson pitching a fine game here. A one-hitter. Now up at the plate. He's grounded out a couple of times. Out of play.
It looked like Kyle Jackson, a little bit of problem getting loose in the first inning. Not because he gave up his only hit in that inning, but just looked like he wasn't throwing with good rhythm. But boy, he's gotten everything together. He's gotten his breaking ball over. Thrown a lot of strikes.
So a reminder that the World Championship game will be on ABC's Wide World of Sports Saturday, looking like Danville, California and Chinese Taipei. Taipei has already qualified, and we will start at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Right back. Nice play by Esposito. That'll do it, but 3 more. And after 4, it's 12-0. California with the lead. 12-0 our score here. In the first game, however, Chinese Taipei exploded 17-1. They hit 4 home runs in the first inning. This, the monster, the one they're still talking about, Bang Sheng, gets all of it and sends it a good 300 feet way up that hill. And most longtime Little League observers say it is the longest home run hit here in the World Series. Not only can they hit it, they can also pick it. And they'll be here Saturday afternoon to play what more and more appears to be Danville, California, for the World Championship of Little League Baseball. That, of course, again, is at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Wide World of Sports. Danville 6 outs away now. Nicely pitched game by Jackson, working on a one-hitter, moving into the 5th inning.
All right, send her down, bud.
Against the bottom of the Staten Island lineup.
Hey, what great offense has to do for a pitcher like Kyle Jackson. It takes the opposing team's offense and maybe gets them a little bit more interested in hitting home runs than doing what they originally came out to. That's the get on base, bunt a little bit, maybe steal a base if they can, or move up on a wild pitch, pass ball, whatever the case is. But the minute you put 4 runs on the board in the first, and then 3 in the second, 2 in the third, and then another 3 runs to make it 12-0, everybody's thinking home run.
Greg Brown Davis moves in behind the plate, and a pinch hitter is now up for Staten Island, and that's Mike Carpinello, number 20. He's the hitter. 1 ball and no strikes here in the 5th. Trailing by a dozen.
Bring it back.
So everyone for the San Ramon Valley Little League out of Danville has made an appearance in this United States Championship. And I think every player in this game for the East has worn that full face guard. Am I not right on that? Is there anybody who has not? I can't remember seeing anyone. Foul back. 2 balls and 2 strikes here in the top of the 5th.
I think it's a pretty wise rule. And we're told that it is optional. The double flap helmets aren't. There's Goody Halverson, the manager, Staten Island.
Can't run on the dropped 3rd strike in Little League Baseball. 1 out, and that is strikeout number 6 for Jackson.
Just a little bit breaking ball. Get ahead in the count. Throw it out of the strike zone. Not the intention to throw it for a ball, but to make sure to keep it down.
Now John Gorman steps up, and so Staten Island has used its players also. Back at us, and
tried to save you, and we're getting booed. Well, maybe specifically me.
Make the catch.
Well, I thought about broken hand up there. Boy, if it had come in the booth, I would have shaved
that.
Hey, I think I want to do this game by myself. You out of your mind? I'm gonna make sure you show up on Saturday. 3 weeks in Cuba, I figure you should be able to handle anything, though.
That's right. There's the pop to the shortstop, and now to. Yeah, let's get one of those face masks up there for you and me on Saturday.
I once saved Howard in Detroit.
What were you thinking of?
I often second guess myself about that decision.
In Detroit, you could kill the Detroit.
Well, you know, if you watch the monitor in Detroit, you're hanging over in a basket. I mean, it's a great place to do a game, watch a game. Not to pitch, but if you're a hitter. But you take their eyes off the ball, you could be in trouble.
Jack Buck and I worked a World Series on radio, and Jack worked every pitch with a glove right out in front of his face. You know, he held the glove right out here like this. We're much lower in Detroit.
This is where I tried to make the catch. Pretty good vantage point here in Williamsport, too.
Perfect. 1-1 and 2 out. Jimmy Brown, the hitter for Staten Island. Kyle Jackson, we have raved about their 4 home runs, but Kyle Jackson has quietly really shut the door here.
What a difference the day makes. 5 errors today, none. 5 errors yesterday. They've settled down, and I would imagine coming here and playing in front of your biggest crowd, there's a strike. And they said that was the case, that you'd be a little bit nervous. Certainly to be anticipated. Wait till they see Saturday if they win today.
California has scored in every inning. Jackson has allowed only 1 hit. That was a single back in the first inning. He now has walked 2 hitters. So Staten Island with only 3 base runners in this game. There also has been 1 wild pitch thrown by Jackson. That in the first inning allowed Marquis to go to second base. He is the only Staten Island runner to reach second base. After that occurred, it was all Jackson. And now he's only 4 outs away. And a pinch hitter will be coming up.
All right, sir.
Nova Scotia was able to do, put a run on the board. That's what they'd like to do. Down by 12 runs.
And this will end the inning. Kellen Smith picks up the ground ball and throws him out. And we'll move to the bottom of the fifth. It is still 12-0 Danville.
You're leading off.
Bottom of the fifth inning. And a young man now coming up for Danville, California, Greg Brown Davis. And the coaches have made a point of saying that not the most talented player they have, but he's got this wonderful attitude. And they say whenever they leave practice and there's all the balls and bats and equipment to pick up, it is Greg Brown Davis who goes and does the dirty work. And every team needs somebody like Greg. And so here he is in the United States Championship, getting an opportunity to play a little bit. And now he'll get an at-bat. And Tommy John signing some autographs for the youngsters here at Williamsport.
Nice tie. When he wears that tie when he wants to be anonymous.
Brian Scheckman moving along to first base for the East. And John Gorman goes into the outfield, plays center. So the outfield with Brown, Gorman, and Cammarata, Schleckman, Cologne, Marquis, and Holt in the infield. Esposito, the second pitcher, still on the mound, bottom of the fifth. Three balls. Top of the lineup, Kellen Smith with his second at bat. A single last time up. Well, Jim, what do you think about Danville against Chinese Taipei on Saturday?
Well, I've been fooled before. What I like about them, they've played good defense. They haven't made an error up to this point, which is important when you play Chinese Taipei. They will hit the ball harder than the East Staten Island team has done. But Pan Chi Chang, I think he's the key. Struck out 13, but did walk 5 in the quarterfinal game. He will pitch for most likely for Chinese Taipei. Their best pitcher. He'll throw about 75 miles per hour. He'll have a curveball he can throw over. And it really comes down to what you talked about earlier, Kevin Graham. And you hate to put it on one guy. He is going to be the starting focal point for the team.
Smith hitting one deep to left field, off the wall. And he passed the runner at first, and he's out. The hitter is out as the runner on first made a mistake. Went back to first base.
There's two mistakes. First of all, the runner did go back to first base, as you pointed out. And number two, more importantly, you'll never pass a runner if you keep your eye on him. In other words, as he rounded first, you're right, you shouldn't anticipate the runner being there. But if you pick him up and stop looking at the ball, look at the coach, and they're consoling him about that, that'll never happen. Just missed a home run. Now, see, if he keeps his eye on the runner, that'll never happen. A runner didn't do a good job either, but two wrongs don't make a right.
Batter passed the receiver.
So that's a ruled a single, in case you're wondering how they score it. Then he is out after he passes the runner. And the runner goes on down to second base. unusual for a runner off the base that far on that ball not to see it go. And he's going to go to third, and he gets a break. Bounces into left field, and they'll hold him right there. He's having an adventure running the bases.
Well, that is again against the Cardinal rule. Base running usually don't go to third base unless you know you can make it. If the ball is hit to your right, you stay. If it's hit to your left, up the middle, you may go. This ball is hit directly at the shortstop, but it takes a bad hop. He's going to be out at third base, or at least out most likely via the rundown.
Danville, runners on first and third. One out, and Jason Behringer, who has hit 2 home runs, driven in 4 runs, and put one on the warning track in his first at bat.
To the opposite field on the warning track.
So here he comes with 2 teammates on.
I think to add something to your question, can they compete with Chinese Taipei? To characterize this ball club, and to our meeting at 11 o'clock today, I saw Wayne Gross stopped and talked to this team a little bit. He said they're real loose.
Need a strap for the helmet. Thanks.
They want him to get a strap on that helmet.
So maybe being real loose will allow them to relax.
Guys, why don't we have a strap for this
tomorrow
helmet,
when they
please?
work out?
Graham Darvin, give up your helmet so Kevin has it for the next batter. Let's go. Hustle. Come on. Hurry.
Mom watching from the stands. That's a ball and a strike with 1 out.
Another point you brought up, will they scout the West team, the Chinese Taipei team? If they see that slow curveballs will work here, I would imagine that's what he'll see on Saturday. I mean, Jason Behringer, all 3, or at least the 2 home runs and the ball he hit to right field, were all on fastballs.
And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's 3-2 with runners on at first and third. 1 out. And the bases are loaded for Kevin Graham. Oh, he called that a strike. I thought he said ball.
Did call it a strike. There is a tendency sometimes in a 12-0 game, strike zone, to get a little bit wider, a little bit lower.
I'd say it got a little lower. Are you kidding me?
First angle showed that he caught it right off the ground.
No question about it.
Well, the runner on first thinks that was ball 4.
Okay, now 2 out. Runners on at first and third, 12-0. And Kevin Graham with the first 3-run shot in this game. Up the middle for a base hit, and it's 13-0. That's 4 RBIs for Graham.
Great bat
Graham
speed.
dominant.
No possible chance to get in front of that grounder.
13 runs on 14 hits.
What I'm anticipating about this matchup, we saw the Chinese Taipei bat speed. We've seen the bat speed of Kevin Graham right there on that base hit. Well, with Graham pitching 75 to 80 miles per hour, will he be able to throw enough strikes, and will be able, Chinese Taipei be able to generate the bat speed we saw to hit those 4 home runs. And then the same thing applies with Pan, the way he throws. Will they be able to get the bat on the ball like they have this afternoon?
And it's 0-2.
Right here.
We'll have to
Right
wait
here.
for Saturday.
Get that flag. Ball coming in, son. Back up. There you go. Go ahead and hold for short.
That plate umpire looks a little bit like Bill Buckner, doesn't he?
Thank you, sir.
Think about Bill Buckner. He could hit line drives. He did become a home run hitter that one year in Boston. Played for the 86 Red Sox against the Mets.
Yes.
Didn't he?
No balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. And up the middle again. They'll hold the runner. Graham had gone too far, and if they'd have thrown behind him, they'd have had the runner off second. So the bases are loaded with 2 out. And Joey Loveland, who homered the last time up, foul back. Bases loaded for Danville. Bottom of the 5th inning. 2 out, 2 balls, and 1 strike.
Pretty gutty pitch. 2-1 curveball. Ryan Esposito saying might be the way to do it. There's another one. Ooh, just outside.
Left fielder, playable. Danville scores 1 in the bottom of the 5th. 3 outs away from moving to the championship game on Saturday. They lead it 13-0. Danville, California. 3 outs away from a U.S. championship and a berth in the World Series final on Saturday against Chinese Taipei. Kyle Jackson, he's pitched a fine game. Given up 1 hit, struck out 5, and walked only 2. He'll face the top of the lineup here for Staten Island. In the first game, Chinese Taipei advanced to the finals, beating Canada 17-1. So we have had 2 routes here this afternoon in South Williamsport. And now it'll be Staten Island hoping to avoid the shutout. Brian Schechtman, the first baseman, steps in. Left-handed hitter with his first at bat in the series. Slow roller to the short. He'll have to hurry. Oh, got him. That was close. Hudson made the throw, but this is close at first.
Well, Nate Hudson's all afternoon has shown his good hands. He comes up to it. He gets balanced. Look at him get down, glove on the ground, and then fire. Whether he is out or safe is another question. And he got him by a quarter of a step. Also might have been a tie. That goes to the runner normally. circumstances.
Now Jason Marquis. Nobody covering, and Marquis beats it out. Jackson did not get over quickly, and he knows it.
Yes, he does. So what did David Cohn, when he argued a play at first last year, called it vapor lock? That's what happened to Kyle Jackson. Just forgets to do what his job is. Any ball to the right side, especially when it's fielded nicely like that, you're supposed to get over there.
Wild pitch. That was the second hit for Staten Island. And now, for the second time in the game, they put a runner on second base.
The people watching here at the semifinals, yesterday, Jason Marquis with 11 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody, pitched a 3-hitter, went the distance. They got the only base hit today. Looks like a real good young athlete.
Grounder to short, backhand, he got the lead man. He runs into the out. And there's an injury at third base. So Jason Marquis is down, and so too is the Danville third baseman, who appears to be holding his right shoulder. He kind of rolled up into him.
Well, also, I think Jason may have heard, right, if you see it right here, right there, he slides and catches his right knee, and that's the knee he's holding.
Caught the spike going into this slide, goes into a tumble, and crashes into Joey Loveland's right shoulder.
Well, they called him out originally, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't have been. He held on to the ball, and then see, if you watch the umpire, he went with a safe sign.
Oh, he was out.
That's what I thought. He did rule safe, though.
They changed it?
I don't know if he changed it, but he was out.
He was out. I mean, he comes up with his arm.
Well, that later on, he did go to the safe sign. We didn't follow the tape that long, but apparently changing the call a little bit.
He's gone, and Colby Rucker, who was the starting third baseman, now goes back in. That's timeout. He sees there's an injury, and so he calls timeout. That's what he comes up with his arms like.
That's a safe sign, too.
Ground ball, right field, base hit. There comes the runner, going to score as the right fielder holds the ball. The shutout is averted. Brian Esposito comes around.
Base hit, and the right fielder, he simply forgets about the runner that's going from second to third. Moral victory for Staten Island, 13-1.
You know, Kyle Jackson, 1 out away, and a base hit. It's going to roll past the right fielder to the wall, and Staten Island will hold the runner at third. A double.
Need a batter, please. Can I have a batter?
Another rocket. Kyle Jackson lucky to get out of the way. Ball's hit so hard it rolls all the way by the second baseman into right center field. Strong throw from the Danville center fielder. Hits the cutoff man.
Troy Ward now huddling with Jackson. You know, Kyle Jackson, who has pitched so well here today, he has a huge hobby. He wants to be a professional cartoonist. He apparently draws all the time when he's not playing baseball. He also plays golf. And he has a wonderful artistic talent.
Let's go, guys. Somebody with a helmet. There you go. Take it over.
He's trying to design one final out.
Good time.
It is 13-1. 1 out away from ending the game.
Okay, sure.
And this all began when he forgot to cover first base. The right fielder stepping in with 2 out here in the 6th inning.
That was the kid,
too. 1 strike away. And the second one will score for Staten Island. And here comes the third one. They'll send him back to third. Only 1 run can score on that play.
Okay, guys, don't say a word to Graham Dobbin either. Let's go. No, it's no. He should have just thrown it home. But don't.
Curveball. Try to block it. Tried to do that. Got out in front of it. Real difficult to catch a curveball that only goes about 44 feet. Spin, tough. Hard around home plate.
Off to the second baseman. Not in time, and a third run comes in for Staten Island. As Smith could not make the play.
Been out of this thing. It's too bad. I know.
A couple of points here. First of all, Staten Island given that extra out, not giving up. Second thing, this is what Chinese Taipei is going to do on Saturday. They're going to put pressure on from inning 1 to inning 6. Well, they're going to win this game because they have a 10-run lead, I would assume. But they can't lose their focus.
John Gorman, the hitter for Staten Island. Strike with 2 out. Off the third baseman's glove. The throw. He's safe. And the runner dashes to third. And what we've got here is an old-fashioned Little League rally.
Huh? It's getting ugly. Come here.
He thought for a second he might have had the out.
Let's go celebrate. Come on. Hey,
well, if you want your team to keep their composure, you have to keep yours. And Troy Ward did a good job of that. That was a real close play. Could have gone either way. Just hope for not having any injuries at this juncture in the game.
Jimmy Brown trying to keep it alive for Staten Island. 2 out and 3 runs in. It's 13-3. That one a touch high, wasn't it?
Evened it up. Well, not actually. It should be 2-0. Jimmy Brown saying, I like the high pitch, but not that high.
4 hits for Staten Island here in the 6th. And a tiring Kyle Jackson trying to hang on here for the complete game win. You know, one more high strike like that, Jim Palmer, and these umpires may pay more than 50 cents on that Staten Island ferry the next time they go.
Fair to note that the umpires do not get paid for umpiring. They come here non-gratis.
At the shortstop, off in, everybody's safe, and the 4th run scores.